Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the cold steel Finhawk. Alright everybody, welcome back. Today I want to show you a new knife. Some people call this a Mora competitor or a Mora killer or whatever. It is from Cold Steel. It is $20 and it is called the Finhawk. I'll give you a link down below where you can pick it up. Now according to Cold Steel, they based this on a finished puukko style blade. The blade length is 4 inches. Overall it's 8.5 inches. The steel is German 4116 stainless cryo quenched steel. It's got a nice Scandi grind, of course. Handle is polypropylene with rubber. Gives you a nice firm grip. I happen to like the grip just from playing around. I haven't used this knife for anything serious yet. I happen to like the grip a little bit better than a Mora grip. I'm right-handed and I'm using my left here, but let's give you an idea. My fingers tend to fall right where that little indentation is on each side. And it does have that nice rubberized feeling to it. So it's definitely a cool little... The knife weighs 5.1 ounces with the sheath, and the sheath is very, to coin a word, Mora-esque. However, there is a bit of a more positive hold in there. That's not coming out anytime soon. You know, that's not, and I'm not holding it tight or anything. That's in there really well. Whereas a Mora sheath kind of rattles around sometimes. If you have a Mora, you'll have it, you know, it would be loose. But not too bad. That's a comparison between the two. And I'm showing you the handle. And this is what I mean. This handle is a little bit thicker, yet smaller. And the other handle is a little bit wider, yet flatter. And it has that little scalloped out area where my hands just fit in there right. So, for this knife, I would say this is a good all-around hiking, camping, bushcrafting style of knife. If I had to point out to just one area where I think this knife is going to excel, I would say woodworking tests. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take it right outside, and we're going to try a couple basic woodworking tasks and make a fire with it and see how well it works. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is make some curls with this. Try it out and see how I like it. I don't make the best curls in the world, so don't blame me. Don't blame the knife if I'm horrible at making curls. Does seem to be making them nice though. I'm not going down far enough with it, but definitely if you're experienced at doing this, you'll make better curls than I do. But as you can tell, that's not half bad. I'm really not great at doing it. And that's pretty darn good. Out of the box, this thing came razor sharp. I could not believe it. You know when you just touch a knife and you're like, whoa. You know it's going to be sharp. So that's cool. Next thing we're going to try, and this is something that, I don't recommend. I recommend a dedicated knife for it, or a hatchet. With a knife like this, or even a Mora, is batoning. But we are going to try it to see how it holds up and how it works. I'm going to just do a couple of small pieces of wood and see how it goes. Obviously it tears right through that, it's not a big piece of wood. Let's try something a little bigger. Let's see. Break the end off that and try that. So for small batoning, really no problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem doing that. No big deal. Let's chop through some more stuff. I hope that's in the camera, is it? Yeah, that's good enough. Now this is where this thing will really come into play a lot, is when you're going to be scraping and doing fire starting. So I'm going to get some fat wood out here, and we're going to scrape with that 90-degree spine. It is a razor sharp, nice, even 90-degree spine. With the Mora, generally you have to kind of grind something down on there. So we're going to scrape some wood and get some fire starter out here and start a fire. I'm going to set my little stove, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so we're out here. I got some fat wood. A little thin piece of it left. A little bit of a pile of shavings there from what I was doing before. I'm going to try the spine scraping on here and just see. Let's use that side. Yeah, that's scraping up nicely there. Getting lots of little fat wood scrapings. And that smells so good. Okay. So we got a bunch of that. We're going to be trying out a new fire starter from Black and White Fire Starter over here. This is, what do they call this? The yellow jacket. It's got little caps on the end. I assume you're supposed to take those off. Cut right through that. And we're going to fray this out a little bit. Kind of stretch it out. Get all the fibers loose in it. Let's see how well that works. If anything can strike it, definitely between that ferrule rod and that sharp spine, this should definitely get it lit. So let's give it a try. Let's get that out of the way. Let's see. There we go. I don't know if you can see it burning, but it's going. So with something like this, you could cut off a smaller piece and try it, but it lit it no problem at all. I'm gonna bunch up this stuff, and actually I'm just gonna put it in the fire over here and light the fire with this little piece. Just cut that off. Put that right in there. And get it going. And for those wondering, this is that very shiny. Remember, it had the blue plastic all over it. I believe the name's Aluji, and this is their wood stove. Just kind of folds flat. I wanted to burn it and use it a little bit more to get rid of some of that shininess on it, to be honest with you. So we're going to let that burn out, and I'm going to see how that works as far as the stove. And we'll take you back inside, and I'll give you my final thoughts on this knife. So far, I'm really liking it. All right, so I'm going to let you know what I really think, honestly, between the two. Both knives are excellent knives. This video isn't about if you have a Mora, you have to run out and get one of these or you're going to die in the forest alone. No, it's not. And I hate when people represent products like that. Really what it is just kind of a personal preference thing. So I'm going to show you, first of all, I haven't done anything to this knife since I brought it in. Let's see how that edge is, because, I mean, it didn't do a ton of cutting, but look at that. Now, mind you, that's how it came out of the box from the factory. I'm trying to get a little thin. Look at that. That's insane. That's how it came out of the box from the factory. I didn't do any stropping, sharpening, anything to it. That's literally how it came to me. Out of the box. And the box, if you're looking for it, it's kind of a blister pack kind of deal. If you're looking for it, that's what it looks like. I always like to show that stuff so if you're in a store somewhere that's selling it, you'll know what to recognize, what to look for. Instead of looking for a little white plastic box or something like that, you know what that's in. So between the two, with the Mora, dimensional disparities are almost so small they're not worth discussing. I mean, they're almost exactly the same thing. Both feature 4-inch blades with an additional 0.2 inches of the tail of the hawk. It's got a 4.5 inch handle instead of a 4.3. And they both have the satin blades, polymer grips. Pretty much the difference is the Scandi grind on this cold steel Finhawk is a little bit taller than your Mora. Does it make cutting a little easier? I think it does. But you may love Moras, and you may have a different type of Mora that has a different type of blade, but I think it does for me. I found that I like Mora's sheath better. I like this sheath a whole lot better. It's easy to get it out one-handed without really worrying about cutting your fingers off. This one over here, because of the molded plastic and everything, fits in very tightly. But that's the problem. And if you're not paying attention, right, and you get that finger in there, and you pull up, like that, you can get a nice little nasty cut. You definitely got to be careful. So when you're doing these, when you're sheathing and unsheathing with this, you could have it on your belt, of course. Again, the belt holders are almost identical. But you definitely, if you're going to hold it down here, not up here where you could come in contact with that blade. You want to hold it here and pull out. So I do kind of like the Mora sheath a little bit better. I think it's a little more streamlined. But there's nothing wrong with that, and it'll work fine. And as you saw, it holds it in there perfectly fine. So I really had no problems with that. The Finhawk did turn out to be more comfortable. It's not a major difference, and I didn't really notice it at first when I first tried the two, because of course that's the obvious comparison. When you see this, you think Mora. But in my hand, the down sweat pommel here kind of fit in there nicely, and the little indentations on either side felt nice, and I like the rubberized grip. Now again, the Mora has a rubbery grip, but it's kind of bowed out. It's kind of got those swells to the side, the palm swells, Whereas this is a more flat compact, feeling tighter in your hands. Very, very minor thing. Would I work with this one? Absolutely. You know, it's like I wouldn't throw any of these out if I found them on a deserted island. Either one I'd be perfectly happy with. Other than that, it has a lanyard hole. I will be making a lanyard for it. Again, some people will tell me, well, you know, you just take that and zap it through with a drill. I like having the lanyard hole without having to mess with it. Without having to mess up my gear when it's brand new. Kind of like that feature, but it's not a deal killer on the Mora either. You know, it's all personal preference. On batoning. Now, I say this with these type of knives. This one batoned very well for the little tiny pieces it did. You know, and that's about as far as I'd go. I wouldn't go too nuts with either one. They're really not made for batoning. They're made for more, you know, camp-type tasks. A good example, I have it over here. While I was waiting for the fire to burn out, I made a little tent stake with a little notch on it. And by the way, this blade was so sharp, that made it such... Look at the point I got of that thing. It made it so easy, you know, I got my little notch on there. So, I mean, yeah, they're really made for camp tasks. They're not made for batoning big pieces of wood on a regular basis. The biggest I'd baton would maybe be a piece that big. I wouldn't want to go, you know, pieces like that or smaller because you're going to end up breaking these knives. They are the, you know, the rat tail tang. And they're not, you know, full tang all the way to the back. And they're just not made for it. You'll roll the edges on them because of the Scandi grind, you know, eventually will roll if you keep beating on it. What I did find is it's a very robust edge on there. As you can tell, after doing that much work, I've had knives where I've had to come in and strop or clean up. You saw that just shredded the paper, you know, it just shredded it to pieces. So it's still ready to go. Basically, all I'd do if I was out at camp is wipe this off and continue working. So am I ready to say that the Finhawk is a superior knife? Well, yes and no, kind of. It depends on your intended use. If you're going solely for comfortable carry, maybe food prep, maybe some light bushcrafting type tools, Mora's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the Mora. And as I said, the sheath, I prefer. You got your little thumb rest up there. You can just pull it right out. This sheath kind of worries me with that deep cut in it where you might be tempted to put your hand there and pull it out and rip the blade across your fingers. But, you know, really you can't go wrong with either. If you have a Mora, I'll put it like this. If you have a Mora and you're happy with it, you don't need to go out and buy this knife. If you have a Mora and you collect knives, by all means, go out and try it, buy it, you know, use it. I would bring this in conjunction with maybe a heavier knife or an axe for wood splitting, batoning, stuff like that. As you saw, the smaller pieces of wood were no problem at all. I wouldn't worry about that. But once you get to bigger pieces of wood that you might run across, you don't want to be doing that. So, if that's your only use for the Mora, that's fine. If you enjoy carving, sharpening, making a fire, you know, doing the stuff we did out there, this, to me, had a little bit more of an enjoyable experience than when I've done it with my Moras. And the 90-degree spine, you saw that thing just lit up that fire rope without any problem whatsoever from Black and White Fire Starter. So definitely a cool little knife. I'm liking it. I'm going to be using this more in videos because I'm liking the feel of it. So it's kind of hard sometimes. You know, I have knives that I have so many knives, and it's hard to rotate them out of every video. But I'm definitely going to be leaving this out around here so I remember to use it in videos because I'm actually very pleased with it. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. I thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out, I will leave a link down below where you can purchase this cold steel Finhawk. Don't forget to check out our store down below as well. Our store has pretty much everything I review on the channel, so you can check it out there. Occasionally I won't have things I can put in there because I can't find them on Amazon, but it does help us out when you purchase from that store. Or if you don't see anything in the store you like, just click the link, shop as you normally would. And don't forget to check out our Thrive Life link down below if you're interested in getting started in some freeze-dried food. Thrive Life has awesome stuff. Very, very healthy, not a bunch of preservatives. You're really going to like it. And don't forget to check out our OLED link as well if you're interested in getting some decent flashlights to get started with. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.